All right, you're welcome back. We go straight to the headlines right now. Many interesting stories on the front page of all of our papers today, all of the papers that we will look into. We start with the Nigerian Tribune. The Nigerian Tribune for today, Tuesday, 17 October 2023. The Nigerian Tribune. Resume or resign. Ondo PDP youth tell Akeredolu, resume or resign. Ondo PDP youth tell Akeredolu, give him 72-hour ultimatum. Vow to sustain protest. Court to hear Akeredolu Ayedatiwa's application. October 30. Today, here we go. Youth, especially those of the PDP, had a protest yesterday. And it was kind of protest, right? It happened. We got feelers that it happened at the PDP secretariat, and they were not allowed to move out of that place by the security operatives, by the way. But they are saying the governor of Ondo State, Arakunrin Rotimi Akeredolu, has been told to resume or resign, giving him 72 hours. Yeah.
Looking at that, ever since Arakunrin came back from his medical surgeon, and he's been in Ibadan.
Yeah.
As it has been said, that he's in Ibadan, and he's a governor of a state.
Yeah.
There's a limit at which to which the Constitution permits. I wonder why things are still happening in Ibadan. Yeah. Even if he has to still take a rest. He can do that
very well. Yeah, in his own home state.
He should be able to go back to his own home state.
Because that's what these guys are saying. Yeah. Why stay in another state and while you're a governor of a state within the same country? Now, when possibly he's out of the country, he was out of the country, it was understandable.
Very well.
Now you are back in the country, and then you're not back in your own state.
And I want to wonder if probably, ever since he got back from the medical trip, he's been to Ondo State. Well, it's not been stated. I'm not sure.
It does not be reported.
It's not been reported as well. So we wish Mr. Arakunrin.
We have not even heard if actually he has addressed, physically addressed the people, the people of Ondo State, like his people, apart from his press statement, like a television broadcast or a town hall meeting to say, guys, thank you for your support.
Exactly.
And then possibly still recuperating. But then these are what the papers are saying this morning. Court to hear Akeredolu Ayedatiwa's application, October 30th. Moving on, NIPOST staffers shut down head office in protest against new CEO. The stories being peddled around there. There was a another angle to that who said the NIPOST protest was more like a celebration that the former boss has been taken away and another one is here. But the Tribune are saying NIPOST staffers shut down head office in protest against new CEO. You want to know why? Speak up. A copy of the Nigerian Tribune. Kogi West Elders Forum endorses Abejide as consensus governorship candidate. That's part of the journey to the November election in Kogi State, right? People making endorsements and confirmations and alignment as well. Why EFCC, ICPC chairman can't come from the same zone? Why EFCC, ICPC chairman can't come from same zone? Falano, right? The Lugi luminary, the SAN. Federal government begins destruction of $1.2 million worth of pangolin scales. These are animals that are in danger of extinction, pangolin. And now some of the scales we are hearing has been reported today that federal government will start the destruction of 1.2 million worth of pangolin scales. If that's the best, if we confiscate it, can't we use it for something else? It be useful. By the way, pangolin.
I remember in the course of was it something last week? I think to an extent yesterday we probably discussed this aspect of whereby gas being flared away that we're not reusing it. There are things that could be
channeling it properly
to use for other things.
Yeah.
Now, why would you destroy pangolin scales? I know
1.2 million.
Other countries of the world will find something that this scales will definitely have a use, a positive need somewhere. It can be crushed and used to design something, artifacts, so many things. But
maybe they have their reasons, but this is just a headline.
This one's expired pangolin scales.
And it can be misleading, by the way. And pangolins, just like some other animals, reptiles, are animals that are in danger of extinction, actually. Moving on. Akpabio instigated my sack. Senator Abu alleges as he loses Senate seat to PDP's Amos Yohana, alleges 4 senators to be sacked for not backing Akpabio's Senate presidency bid. And Senate president has no hand in his predicament. Interesting one there.
Back and forth.
Of course. And you have the picture of some persons taking oath here. All right. And the top strip, Nigeria's inflation rate rises to 26.72% as food prices soar. Experts blame increasing dollarization of economy, demand, pressure in forex market. All right. Federal government projects 26 trillion naira for 2024 budget, and PEX crude oil at $73.96 per barrel. Exchange rate $700 naira per dollar. Okays $90 million for Ekiti Knowledge Zone project. I think that was part of what was done at the FEC meeting yesterday. And buildings on drainage channels. Lagos government rules out compensation for owners. Wow, that would quite be disheartening for persons who have had their buildings pulled down for obstruction of drainages, and then possibly they were thinking the government is going to compensate them, but the government are saying you have done something wrong from the beginning. Your buildings stands on drainages and blocks the right of way of waters, which can be quite disastrous. The government are saying nothing for you, and it speaks to the fact that let's do what is right.
That is just
from the start. That is so that just won't be in this space. Now, monies, efforts have been wasted on these, and the government cannot just sit and begin to look you, block the right way of water, because when it comes, it will result in flooding, lives of people's, people's properties might be in danger of a disaster. That would be all from the front page of the Nigerian Tribune.
All right, sorry, our program was somewhat in a hurry.
Yeah.
Let me start my set of headlines from the Nation newspaper for today. And quickly, you have quite a whole lot of headlines here. The big bold caption there says, federal government proposes 26 trillion naira appropriation for next year. Federal government proposes 26 trillion naira appropriation for next year. And you have the rider there. It says, lawmakers to get supplementary budget. FEC endorses 1.5 billion naira World Bank loan and $80 million for Ekiti Knowledge Zone. 80 million naira, $80 million for Ekiti Knowledge Zone. All right. And just beside that, you have the executive governor of Ekiti State, His Excellency Governor Biodun Oyebamji, with market women there. All right. That's something happening in Ekiti State, I think sometimes yesterday. And also moving to the bottom strip here, empower beneficiaries to get pay backlog from next month. I don't know if FEMI is amongst
no,
Empower. You're not amongst the Empower? Oh, boy. I said, okay, we'll wait when this money comes, so at least you can do some tight paying.
Thank you for the good wish.
Moving further up, you have the picture of Mr. President and the newly sworn-in ministers during the FEC, before the FEC meeting actually took place yesterday. But the story just beside that picture there, it says, Ayedatiwa loses bid to stall impeachment. That's the deputy governor of Ondo State. The writers associated to that story says, court fixes October 30 for suits. I am in charge, says Akeredolu. Tells protesting PDP chieftain, I am in charge. Akeredolu tells protesting PDP chieftains. All right, he is in charge, as he has stated. The red strip just above that main plate there. 2 Osun pensioners slump during verification in Oshogbo, and it's not the first time, second, third time. You will definitely get to hear this all over the country. It's not just peculiar to Osun State alone. We had a series of this happen in Oyo State and some other states of the Federation. Pensioners. Now, we heard yesterday that the bed-ridden ones will be communicated via phone calls now, so they won't have to come.
And I think that's better.
Much as it's probably better, I still feel government have been unfair to pensioners in this country called Nigeria. How will someone who has meritoriously served, worked for 35 years, or has attained the age of 60, 65 of retirement at this point, and now they have to get their benefits? You now have to call all these older people to come and line up.
By the way, they said that is verification, and that has always been done at for years now, possibly by state government to ascertain the numbers. Possibly it's done once a year to ascertain those that are still eligible. Possibly some might have died, and if their statistics is not gotten right, the government or the employers must still be paying. And when somebody dies, I'm talking about pensions, not the gratuity, because that's paid once or thereabout, but the monthly ones, so that they will know the numbers of persons that, in fact, it's called I'm Alive in some states to show that they are alive. But then I think that process should be made smoother, very stressless.
I concur with you 100%.
I think there are some state government, like Lagos State, that I'm very sure, because I asked somebody like 2-3 years ago that you don't have to come in person. They contact you, and I think that's the modus operandi now. That the state government of Osun State government rather is trying to adopt. This has been done in other states or Lagos to say just get somebody with internet access with WhatsApp video call. They see the person less than 2 minutes. They see the person. They ask the person, Mama, Baba, how are you, sir? Is that you? What's your name? The person states his or her name. Then there is a code allotted to every pensioner. What's your code, ma or sir? The person reads out that particular digit, and then they tell you, please hold on, less than 10 seconds, they verify, is that the person? And they say, sir, enjoy the rest of your day. Bye. That's all.
I wish that would go around.
That's the way it's done in Lagos.
It should be done very true. And this still boils down to the aspect of data. If you get to
probably this part of the process of possibly getting the data as well.
It should be. Once you know,
stressless.
It should be stressless. Should not be
stressful.
You can't.
It should not just be about old people lying.
No. Yeah. It's really it's really painful. Yeah. But looking at that story, ever since I heard that story yesterday, my heart bled, and I was like, pensioners, because of how much are they going to be getting? Well, now slumping. They have to. The money they probably get again, they will use it in the hospital. That's if they ever get it quickly. But please, government at all levels, we appeal to you. Let these people, because yours is never stressful. Yours comes easily. Moving on, other stories still making the rounds from the Nation newspaper for this morning. Akpabio sacked Abo. Akpabio sacked Abo clash over appeal court verdict. There's been so much story concerning Senator Sani Abo there. He's saying Akpabio has a hand in his sacking. That look,
Elisha Abo,
that 4 more senators will keep that. Ever since I saw that story yesterday evening, I like, there's fire on the mountain to an extent. But blame game, exactly.
Yeah.
But we'll see what this looks like. Moving on, fuel prices push inflation to 26.72%. And IMF is talking here again, phenomenon global. Nah, all right. Okay. Talking the Minister of Works here, and former Ebonyi State Governor Umahi, Ogun cleared to fix toll Abeokuta Outer Road. Ogun cleared to fix toll. That's Abeokuta Outer Road. Thank you. Eventually. And going straight to Kogi here. Kogi West elders endorse ADC candidates Abejide. What do you make of the upcoming off-season elections coming in these three states, Kogi, Bayelsa, and Imo?
Yeah.
There's been so much talk. There's been so much.
My take is let the people win.
Yeah,
let the wish of the people be respected.
I wish that, yes, and that is how it's actually supposed to be.
The office of the citizen should be respected.
Honestly.
Everybody involved, the security operatives, the umpire, which is INEC in this case, everyone, CSOs, the people themselves, most especially the guys that are vying for these offices, politicians, should stop heating up the polity and just using the people just to achieve their kind of ambition. It's an ambition, by the way, but some, you check the intent and you know that if you want to serve the people, you don't have to kill some of the people to achieve your aim or set them up against one another. But then this is an endorsement from a part of, reported endorsement from a part of the state endorsing possibly one of their own to say, you have our support, here you go. And we'll see more of that, you know, across board as the days draw near. But let the will of the people be respected.
It was a moment for me yesterday to really at least relax after a very hectic day yesterday while listening to the governorship candidate of the People's Democratic Party in Kogi State, Senator Dino Melaye. He was on Channels Television, and you trust Dino Melaye, and he would always give it to you. And yeah, by and large, wish Kogi, Imo, Bayelsa, that
that's a candidate of
the best candidate.
The ADC.
Abejide was a fantastic man. All of them. Ododo, going to Bayelsa, going to Imo, Uzodima coming back, running for his. We just wish
running for office.
Running for office.
For re-election. Because you say coming back.
Oh no,
he looked like the decision has been made.
Yeah. He's actually running for
re-election.
But basically, I think this is going to be a big opportunity for INEC to be able to correct so many mistakes made during the general election. Okay. We've heard INEC say we will upload a cert. If this can work out, seriously, it will. The dented image I feel INEC has, this could probably straighten it up. And if it, we'll just hope it's going to be violence free. That I know.
Hopefully.
And we will definitely see what it looks like.
That's the way it's supposed to be, actually.
All right. That will be all from the Nation newspaper from me this morning.
All right, to the Guardian. The Guardian newspaper for today. Of course, it's reeled when you check the front page with statistics and data. They do that. Quite interesting one. At 1,000 naira per dollar, 30% inflation, over 90% Nigerians denied a healthy diet. This one is on food, really. At 1,000 naira per dollar, 30% inflation, over 90% Nigerians denied healthy diet. You know, when you check through what is happening in your neighborhood, you know that these days it's not really about having a healthy diet. It's just about, for most persons, having something to eat. And it's not even about do I have enough to eat. It's just that for most persons, again, firstly, not about the diet being healthy. It's about you having something to eat. Now, when you have something to eat, it's not about the fact that do you have the required proportion that can fill you. It's about my stomach should not be empty at this time. You know, I think that's what statistics speaks to. 90% Nigerians cannot afford a healthy diet. Then you have to now ask, what's a healthy diet? That's it. 30.64% Nigerian food inflation. 27.72% September headline inflation. Inflation contributors, food and non-alcoholic beverages, all right, Housing, water, electricity, gas, and other taking 4.47%. Clothing and footwear, 2.04%. It's understandable why that percentage is very low, because for some persons, once they have one or two to move around with, they are fine. It is not a compulsion. But you see the parts being taken by food. Food and non-alcoholic beverages, 13.84. And exchange rate at 1,000 naira per dollar. At least that's the parallel market. The I and E official window is around 700, between 700 and 750. About. But do you have access to that? Easily. That's another. That's why most persons want to waste their time and go through that. On affordability, if the cost exceeds 52% of an average household income, cost of debt per person per day, Nigeria, 4.1%. Percentage of population unable to afford a healthy diet, 95.9%. Ghana, $4. The population that cannot afford a healthy diet, 61.2%. All right, I will say it in ratio now to save time. Cameroon, $2.28 to 60.7% population. South Africa, $4.3 to 65.2, and it goes on and on. But then, instructive to know, in UK is $1.9, and the percentage that cannot afford it healthily, 0.5%, meaning more than 99% of the people in the UK, according to this statistics, can afford a healthy meal. Not really something luxurious like you having your table food, but a healthy diet. So that's it. In the US, 1.5% of people that cannot afford. Canada, 0.7%. Australia, 0.7%. India, 70.5%.
Close neighbors, Nigeria.
Blame their population for that. And diet affordability metrics, ratio of diet cost to international poverty. And you might want to pick up a copy of this paper to have an in-depth analysis of these. And moving on quickly, APC accuses appeal court panel of compromise as justices recuse themselves. Tension in Post as Odeyemi defies protest resumes as PMG, that's Postmaster General. Federal government pegs FX rate at 700 naira per dollar as overhead cost spike, 26 trillion naira, 2024 budget. And on the international scene, Israel-Hamas conflict. Sultan demands end to killings of civilians in Gaza. States issue 1.13 trillion bonds in 44 years. Motorcyclist, more police inspector to death in Delta. Why? November 14, that's bad, by the way. Nobody should be killed as civilian or many uniform. We're all humans, firstly. November 14, Guba poll, state of the race in Bayelsa. That will be all from the front page of The Guardian for today.
And quickly, let me check some of the other headlines making the round from Daily Times, the Daily Times newspaper. I'll just reel through them quickly because of time. Trouble looms for sacked CAC Registrar General Abubakar. And that's what it looks like there. And you have the rider there, workers. Sorry, let me just, because this is, okay, this is it. Workers coming to say something there. Workers plot petites on the workers plot petition to EFCC, ICPC over billions allegedly misappropriated. Party mood at headquarters yesterday. And you have a picture of youths protesting at the PDP secretariat, and you have the banner there, where is Aketi? And moving further down, 2024 appropriation, FG proposes 26.01 trillion naira. Quite a whole lot of rider associated to that story says, confirms fresh $1.5 billion World Bank loan, another $80 million loan from AFDB for digital youths, Coastal Road, Lagos, Port Harcourt, Calabar, Sokoto, Ogoja, Orchid, gives nod for concrete pavement. Other stories still there coming down. How Sokoto is tackling insecurity. You want to know, please check it out. It's there. Appoint substantive auditor general of the Federation, Kalu tells Tinubu. And police nab 80-year-old man over missing manhood. FCTA workers hold rally for Wike over broken yokes. You want to know more about that, please check it out as well. On the top strip, house subsidy removal. NAIRA depreciation pushed Nigeria's inflation to 26.72%. And that will be all from the pages of the Daily Times for this morning.
All right, and that will be all from this segment, for this morning. When we'll come back from going a short break right now. When we'll come back, we get talking, and it's about matters arising. It's about the reported allocation of a huge sum of money for the House of Rep members to get vehicles, executive vehicles, to pursue their functions. You know, oversight functions. Statutory, it has been reported to be, but then is this the right time for that? Is it insensitive? Are we just being emotional? Are the people just emotional about it? Is it a necessity for the House of Reps members to do their job? You will have a very deep insight of what we are talking about when we come back from this break. It's the Morning Spring on Western Spring Television. Please stay with us.
The 1914 Amalgamation Treaty is synonymous to the birth of Nigeria. Frederick Lugard, a British Army captain and an outlaw who struck gold in Africa, became the instrument used by destiny to make it happen. The amalgamation of Nigeria was designed for economic reasons by the colonial administration to offset Northern Protectorate budget deficit by Southern Protectorate surplus returns. The amalgamation had ad initio created imbalance in the economic political structure of Nigeria and was responsible for the persistent hiccups in the efforts to forge a united country till today. Nigeria's amalgamation was labeled as the mistake of 1914 by native northern conservatives who neither wanted it nor contributed anything significant to its sustenance. Western Spring Television identifies with Amalgamation Treaty of 1914 as a watershed event in history.
Up to 75% of human infectious diseases originates in animals. And as more bushmeat is brought into our cities, the risk of human infectious disease outbreaks increases. Ebola, monkeypox, Lassa fever, yellow fever, and even COVID-19 may have been transmitted in this way. Illegal bushmeat trade not only endangers our wildlife, but affects our health and may damage our economy. So please, say no to illegal bushmeat. Keep them wild and keep us safe.
Some people say animals don't laugh, but perhaps we don't give them a reason to. Our unique species of gorilla are only found in a small forest between Nigeria and Cameroon. With only 300 left in the wild, we cannot afford to lose even one. Traps and snares used in catching bushmeat often kills or injures gorillas too, driving them to extinction. And that, you agree, is no laughing matter. So say no to illegal bushmeat from endangered animals. Keep them wild and keep us safe.
All right, you're welcome back. The conversation will be about a news that broke a few days ago, and it's about the purported money allocated to members of the House of Representatives meant for the purchase of cars for their oversight function. That was the way it was said to be. Many are wondering, different figures that has been given as far as the purchase of each car, SUVs, sport utility vehicles, is concerned. Some have started it to be 200 million naira each. Although the House of Reps had made a clarification on that, some have said it's 160 million per person worth of car, by the way. And they said it's meant, this car is a statutory thing that is meant for each house members to do their oversight functions. That is not a personal gift to them. 160 million or 200 million. In fact, the House made a clarification on that, and I'll let you into that now. In a statement by the spokesperson, Akin Rotimi, on Sunday, he said the vehicles that will be distributed to members are not for personal use. According to the statement, the vehicles are attached to members and must be returned after their tenure. He said it's not particular to the legislature, as appointments of the executive, appointees rather, of the executive have also gotten cars attached to them. He said while many versions of this story carry various exaggerations, we can confirm that the National Assembly bureaucracy is in the first process of procuring and distributing operational vehicles to honorable members over the coming weeks. And he said for the duration of the 10th Assembly, 2023 to 2027, the vehicle shall remain the property of the National Assembly. And at the expiration in 2027, should the extant asset the bonding policy of the government still be in place, honorable members may have the option of making payment for the outstanding value of the vehicles to government coffers before they can become theirs. Otherwise, it remains the property of the National Assembly. That's the clarification from the House of Rep members. And now the furore around it is, why should members of the National Assembly, in this case the House of Rep members, have such a car at this time, 160 million worth of car? Number two, why must they be foreign-made cars? There are vehicle assembly plants in Nigeria. Why can't they use homemade cars? And these are the issues. And then the insensitivity in some quarter around it. We have been joined this morning by a legal practitioner and a policy analyst as well, a human rights activist as well, a Barrister GBADEBO OLABODE. Barrister, good morning.
Good morning, good morning.
Good morning, Barrister.
Good to have you here.
Yeah, it's a pleasure.
Yeah, so what do you make of this matter? The House of Rep members have come out to say it's within our laws. We didn't just appropriate this money to ourselves. It is statutory. It is the vehicles that have been allocated to each member, or that will be allocated for each member during their tenure to do their oversight functions. So why are people making this noise? What do you make of that?
Yeah, thank you very much. Now, let us look at it this way. For us to do a good analysis, let us look at the setup of government.
Yes.
We have three arms of government: the executive, the legislature, and the judiciary. Now, the legislature, normally, they are our representative. That is to say, all of us cannot be in the National Assembly at once. So, by implication, statutorily, they must live well. Because they are representing the poor, they are representing the rich. By implication, all what we are saying is because their salary and their living is shrouded in mystery. They are fair to give us what they take as salary. So anytime people see them buying this, buying that, they always cry, what is going on here? These people have been extravagant. But we have forgotten that the executive too, the ministers, even the chairmen of agencies, they are living big. And what these people are saying is this: we are using this car for our official functions. So by implication, they are entitled to it. But because their life is shrouded in mystery, nobody knows their salary. It's always people project is this, is that. So that is why people are complaining. So they should please, for goodness sake, tell us how much they take as salary. So once people know this, because they're entitled to all these things, once you are representing the people, then you must represent them well. You have to represent them in terms of the law made, then you have to represent them in your own, the way you even live. You don't expect our legislature to be using rickety cars. So, to me personally, I believe they are within their statutory functions.
Well, Barrister, sir, let me just, so much money is always allocated or allotted to NAS every year, every 4 years, and for those who are coming in for the first time and by and large. But I just wonder, is it possible? Is it possible? Can it be constitutional whereby this assembly isn't too juicy? Because Nigerians have always wondered, that's why so many people want to always go to the National Assembly, either as a rep member or as a Senate member. If this isn't too juicy, just like some countries of the world practice, can we still have very, very intellectual legislators if this position, if this assembly isn't of that juicy status?
Thank you very much. You see, our system, you see, we don't have to isolate the National Assembly. Let's talk of the political system. Political system in Nigeria is too juicy. The National Assembly, the executive, with the exception of the judiciary, are the two arms. Everybody wants to go, everybody wants to be governor, everybody wants to be commissioner, because you take good money. And let me tell you one thing, in order to control the system, then everything has to be controlled, not only the National Assembly. So that is why people kill themselves to go to the National Assembly or even to become governor. So the issue is simple. If we are talking of reducing the cost of politics, then it has to be all-embracing. It cannot just be the National Assembly alone. So my position is simple. So we either reduce the cost of politics in Nigeria, because it's too easy, everybody wants to go there. That is why up to now we still have cases in court. So the issue is simple. Let us reduce the cost of governance in Nigeria, not only National Assembly. Let it affect the executive. When you see the government traveling, you see about 20 cars following the governor. We are not complaining on that. So we should, everything has to be all-embracing. It is not just the National Assembly alone.
Yes, you know, just like you have said, some have said, are we not cherry picking? Are we not too being hard as a people on the National Assembly? Because most of the times people get to frown their their faces when news has to do with the National Assembly. And, you know, looking at what Kirotimi, the House of Rep member, who is the spokesperson of the House, said, he said this is not peculiar to the legislature. He said, as appointees of the executive have also gotten their cars attached to them. He even said they have their own. when you check ministries, when you check, of course, headed by ministers, that these are the normal things. That why is it that people, now I'm asking you, why do you think people always are interested when it comes to National Assembly members? And these things that people complain, most persons complain about, are also done by the executive. That we don't get to pick on the executive. Are we just being too emotional on this matter, or is it because of their lifestyle per se?
Yeah, thank you very much. You see, before this civil rule, we have been used to military rule. And under the military rule, you only see the executive. So people are used to the extravagant life of the executive. Now the legislature, they are just they are just coming up. So people see them and there are many. So because when we now talk, people now say, okay, they are living an extravagant life. But the executive even live more extravagantly than the National Assembly. We have the ministers who have cars, they have their papier. I mean, but people don't talk because we are used to the military rule and we are used to the issue of the president, the head of state, the minister. But the National Assembly, they are just coming off. So that is why people talk about them. And the truth of the matter is this. Let us know their salary. They should stop putting this thing in form of a mystery. People don't know what they take. So that is why people complain. Even the executive, apart from their salary, they do collect security votes. So let us be realistic. If these people are actually representing us, please let them represent us well. When you see an American ambassador, you will know it's an American ambassador. The type of guy we're using will represent America. So let us be realistic. If people are representing us, so if they are representing us, they should live well. And the car they are talking about now is for their legislative function. So what are we talking about? And let me tell you one thing, even in the corporate world, let us do politics now. People have official cars. So why are we complaining?
Yeah, yes. Just a follow-up on that. Yeah, talking about official cars, one would say, okay, we have said they should live well. And they should have a status befitting of a representative. In fact, while corroborating that, some will say it's not only National Assembly members, that hardly will you see a VC of a school who doesn't use a very good car, or you know, people in charge of hospitals, you know, CMDs and the rest of them. Many of them use good cars. Why are you not talking about National Assembly members? But sir, looking at the time we are in right now, some have alleged the figures to be around 160 million naira per car or 200 million naira per car, whichever, even if it's 100 million naira per car. Some will say, does that represent, does that resonate with the time in which we are in, when executives, members of the government, either state or federal levels, National Assembly members, whenever they come out to address the people, they will tell the people, the pains people are going through is for the bigger gain. That people should go through these pains, they should just bear it, everything will go on well. But it appears at their own stance, nothing is changing. 100 million, 150, 160, 200 million naira worth of a car for a person, and the same person, sir, will look you in the face, Mr. GBADEBO, and say, you should bear whatever you are going through. How does that resonate with Nigerians? Isn't that insensitive?
Yeah, thank you very much. Like I said earlier, if we are talking of reducing the cost of administration, it has to be total surgical operation. Now, the system is bad. People want to go into politics because it's too juicy. Now, if we want to change anything, then it has to come from the people. Let us have amendment to our constitution. I don't even know why we have this. Normally we are copying American system of government, but we have to bring it to our own level. It doesn't have to be total copy. Let it be our own, that we relate with our own environment. We don't need to have three senators. 2 is okay. The National Assembly can be reduced. Then sometimes they can even make maybe the Senate a part-time team, so that when they have urgent matter, they can always be called to discuss it. But the issue in Nigeria is we have the senator living large, we have the National Assembly, we have the House of Rep member living large, then we even have the ministers who are even living larger than these people. So the truth of the matter is, we should be talking of reducing the cost of administration of politics in Nigeria. It's too juicy. That is why people are killing themselves. That is why we are still in court. So if the thing is not that juicy, you will see that we won't be in court by now. People went to America to look for a certificate because the post is juicy. So the truth of the matter is, let us reduce the cost of administration.
All right.
It's too juicy and it's too extraordinary. That is just the way I look at it.
All right, but Barrister, I still want to stay with this aspect of what my colleague actually raised here. Looking at this amount of money, either 100, 160 or 200 million Naira cars at this time, sir. Such a car obviously will probably be bulletproofed. Looking at the state of insecurity in Nigeria, and all these monies, all these cars are purchased from taxpayers' monies, the common man. Sir, what is the fate of the common man if we have to, with this state of insecurity in the country today? They are going in bulletproof cars. I don't think you have one.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
You see, the common man has to take their own fate in their own hands.
How?
The truth of the matter is this. What are the makes of this car? They are foreign cars. We do have locally made car in Nigeria. Are they patronizing them? They will not do that. Now, the truth of you see, we need to be proactive. And to be proactive now, the people must continue to ask questions. And when they ask questions, automatically these people will know that their awareness is high. But the truth of the matter, I continue to say it, there is insecurity. You continue to use bulletproof cars, and people are being kidnapped every day. When the legislature, apart from, hello?
Yeah,
Yes.
apart
from the official vehicle, maybe 2 or 3 pilot vehicles. You see, the truth of the matter is, that is why people want to go into politics. Apart from being juicy, it enhances everything you have. Your children go to foreign schools. They don't school in Nigeria. So that is the truth of the matter. Until people start questioning, until people start asking them, look, what have you been able to do for us? Then I will blame the people too. When these people are around, maybe on vacation, you see people going to them asking for money. Instead of asking them, what have you been able to do for us as a legislature? That is by making good law. But people will go there to ask for money. So I don't know, the orientation has to change. People from the people to the top. So that is the way I look at it.
All right. You know, talking about the choice of cars, one will say 160 million, 100 million, 200 million. By the way, foreign-made cars. How does this add to our revenue in Nigeria? It appears like it doesn't, because we are threatening away monies into other people's economy. Of course, dealers will supply, but then that money will be, the final consumer will be the production company. And why we have vehicle-making companies in Nigeria, at least there is one in NAIRA that makes companies. Yeah, and then they as at this money going through the internet, the costliest of their car is under 50 million naira. And so these, imagine having this kind of cars purchased from this company in such number, what it will add to the revenue of that company, how the company will be able to expand. And then, you know, they come to us, I'm talking about the people in government now, the National Assembly or the executive members, and they say, buy Nigeria to grow Nigeria. But leading by example is what people will expect. Why can't they be the first person to do that? Why can't you purchase made in Nigeria products? And if actually those vehicles have issues, the makers are in Nigeria to attend to it. So why are they not doing that? Why do you think they are not doing that? Or is it because they don't trust the vehicle enough? Or is it an ego thing? Barrister, help us out.
Thank you very much. Now, if you look at India, they started with one funny vehicle made in India. And today, India don't import in cars. Even the Chinese vehicle, they are assembled and made in China. And they are being used by the Chinese. Now, even you know some vehicle is not all the best now, they can still manage it. You see, I continue to talk of this. We are talking of the National Assembly alone. What about the executive? The president is using foreign car. Now, look at the bills being used by American president. It is made in America. America is not using Toyota. They are using Ford. So the truth of the matter is, we have not gotten there. So we continue to talk of foreign exchange. We continue to have scarcity of dollar because we import in everything. We import in everything. So we cannot make it if we continue to import. We don't export, you know. What we export is their crude oil. Crude oil. So what are we talking about? We don't even have semi-made products. So the truth of the matter is, we have to be nationalistic. We have to be patriotic. We have to love this country. It is only when we love this country that we talk of made in Nigeria products. So the National Assembly should be deciding a shampoo. They should please drop the idea of buying foreign cars. Let them use innocent vehicle. And that will increase employment and also increase the revenue of government, the revenue of the company. So that is where I look at it. We are not patriotic enough. We always talk of Nigeria, but we don't love this country. That is just the issue.
Well, let me try and paint the picture and take us back a couple of years ago where former Senator representing Kaduna, is it Central? Shehu Sani, he stated that, okay, Nigerian senators, they earn about 13.5 million naira monthly as running costs. And the lawmaker also then said that the running cost was in addition to the over 750,000 naira monthly consolidated salaries and allowances of each member of the Senate, not the reps, right? Yeah. But what I will just want to know, and probably millions of Nigerians, is should legislators just be paid salaries? Should they just be on salaries? So all these consolidated constituency project money, this and that, if this is in there, probably things will be much better. What do you make of this, Barrister?
Now, you see, even what Sunny said is just an area of speculation. They have not given us the actual salary the people take. Is because Sunny said there is projected. But we are talking of, look, you are representing us. Why are you afraid? Why are you fear to put your salary on an open place? Let us see it. How much do you take as salary? How much do you take as allowances? But the truth of the matter is it has been speculation or true. So if they know they are not taking something extraordinary, then they should just put it for everybody to see. Even they are saying, we are talking of National Assembly continuously. What about the president? How much does he take? How much does a minister take? How much does a member, the head of government agencies, how much do they pay? So the truth of the matter is, let us stop of surgical operation to reducing the cost of governance in Nigeria. If this system is too expensive, let us think of our own homemade system of government.
What will you be proposing?
We don't have to copy America. America is rich.
Barrister.
And America is practicing a true federalism.
Barrister.
Are we practicing true federalism in Nigeria?
Right.
Because there are a lot of questions.
And so, what will you be proposing? How do we handle this? Because you have talked about we need a, quote unquote, surgical operation of how the nation is run, how the National Assembly is run. What will be your own proposal? What will you be? How do we handle this?
Now, the proposal can be, we can have private bees to the assembly. Let us bring being to the assembly.
Yeah.
Telling them, look, why don't you reduce? I mean, I continue to say it. We don't need to have permanent senators. Because in the advanced country, in UK, these people are seasoned politicians, former president, former governors, former CJ of something. Now, the truth of the matter is, they can always be called in to intervene. Not that they will be there permanently. That will be the cause of production, the cause of the governance.
All right.
Then the House of Rep also, the number should be reduced, and we should know their salary.
All right, thank you. But before I let you go, let me just chip in this for just a minute. It has been reported now that the country, the nation, is seeking a $1.5 billion loan, to help situation in the country. And the former deputy governor of the CBN, Kingsley Moghalu, made a statement yesterday and say, does this show us as a serious nation? That a nation that is allocating 160 million naira, in his own words, of car per House of Rep member in 360 places, and is still going to borrow $1.5 billion. Does it show us as a serious nation?
Yeah, you see, this borrowing is allowed in government. But the borrowed money must be used judiciously. Now, but the issue is, a country borrowing must also have something being sent outside. That is, they must have their own product being sent outside. People should demand for something from us.
All right.
So that our foreign exchange will go up.
All right.
But in Nigeria today, what do we export? We export crude. Then we bring in about 10 products from the crude. We import it inside again.
All right.
So the truth of the matter is this. We should try to develop internal industries. We should not rely on foreign industry again. Right. Even if industry cannot do the finished product, let it be semi-finished product.
Okay.
So this is the way I look at it, because the truth of the matter is, if we continue to borrow and we don't have the means of paying the money back, and if this money is being used to buy vehicle for the legislators, then we're in trouble.
All right, Barrister GBADEBO OLABODE, a legal practitioner and a policy analyst. Thank you for your take on these conversations this morning.
Thank you for your time, sir.
All right, and the program will continue. We'll go on a short break right now. We'll still continue in this conversation with another perspective. Please stay with us.
Nelson Rolihlahla Mandela was an anti-apartheid activist who gave his all for the elimination of what has been described as the world's most vicious rule of the unjust and man's inhumanity against man. He was born July 18, 1918 in Mvezo, South Africa. Educated and trained as a successful legal practitioner, he took up the gauntlet of a human activist against segregation by the minority white suprematists in South Africa. At the climax of his trial for treason, orchestrated by the minority South African government, the great crusader for democratic equality was prepared to pay the supreme sacrifice to establish majority rule in his native land. He told white jurists that if achieving freedom for his people was worth his life, he was prepared to die. Nelson Mandela spent 27 years in Robben Island, described as the most notorious prison in the world. It was from this same prison that he came out as a free man to assume office as South Africa's first black president in 1994. Western Spring Television identifies Nelson Mandela as a watershed character in history.
Arrested, affected, sound, found. What do we see? What do we say? Flowing from a spring. A fact A to Z. Check and confirm. Ever is pounding current events. Traveling down from the business gist to the globally arising happenings, to the sports news, to the bittersweet infos. Guided transmission, even diffusion, vast and fast, detailed facts are fled. Within seconds, nuggets of words that flew across borders are fired. Stories short and long, wrapped in bundles of words, broken and dissected as it is, except misheard. This is the news as it is.
Here are 5 amazing fun facts I bet you never knew about Christianity.
Number 1, there are over 2.4 billion Christians worldwide.
Amazing fun fact number 2. The Bible is one of the best-selling books of all time, with more than 100 million copies sold every year.
Most Christians believe in heaven and hell.
The Bible is the most translated book in the world, with more than 3,000 languages.
Amazing fun fact number 5. Most Christians throw science out of the window without realizing that most scientists are Christians. Hello, I am Pastor Steve Akinwumi.
And I am Dr. Adeoye Oyewole.
Join us as we highlight and discuss day-to-day issues pertaining to the day-to-day living of every Christian.
Issues in Christendom shows every Sunday on Western Spring Television, channel 190, only on StarTimes.
The Korean War of 1950 to 1953 pitched North and South Korea against each other in response to intrigues by nations beyond their border with different interests from those canvassed by the two brother nations. The Korean War had all the nuances of an external conflict induced by powers that were interested in subjugating North and South Korea. Japan had leveraged on its military power to annex Korea in 1900 and imposed a military union that did not sit well with the citizens. Japan not only lost its war of conquest against Korea, all its powers were obliterated by the effect of the World War II. The end of World War II got Korea divided into two nations along 38 parallel lines by the instrumentality of the United States of America and the Union of Soviet Socialist Republic. The Korean War lapsed into a Cold War when it stopped the prying eyes of external forces into the internal affairs of a nation now divided along its north and southern territories. Western Spring Television identifies the Korean War as a major event in history. Aminatu, the legendary queen of Zazzau, is best known to historians as Queen Amina of Zaria, an old walled town and capital of the Hausa state of Zazzau. Amina was a great warrior and the first woman to rule the ancient kingdom of Zazzau. Her 34 years as queen witnessed an unprecedented expansion of Zazzau by conquests. Queen Amina of Zaria belongs to the class of Amazons by the might of her army and her strings of conquests. She opened Zaria to trans-border trade and was said to have initiated kola nut cultivation in the ancient kingdom. The Hausa Muslim figure was born in 1533 and died in 1610 at the age of 77 years. Folklores remember Aminatu, the Queen of Zazau, as a brave, smart and talented leader whose giant statue now adorns the National Arts Theatre in Lagos, Nigeria, while many educational institutions bear her name. Western Spring Television identifies Queen Amina as a watershed character in history.
Every wild animal serves a purpose in a balanced and functioning ecosystem. But demand for bushmeat can destroy that balance. Deforestation and trade in live wildlife put us all at risk of disease outbreak like Ebola, Lassa fever, and even COVID-19. We can all help prevent extinction and diseases by saying no to illegal bushmeat. Keep them wild and keep us safe.
This iconic African presents the narrative of a man destined to exert an imperishable global influence in Western education. His was a story of a freeborn, captured and sold into slavery. He was born in Oshogun, a native Yoruba village near Iseyin in Okeogun axis of southwest Nigeria. Samuel Ajayi Crowther was the foundation student of Fora Bay College, Sierra Leone, the foremost university where the pioneer set of native Africans were educated. Samuel Ajayi Crowther's greatest contribution to humanity was his translation of the Holy Bible into the Yoruba language. The man who authored the Yoruba dictionary was also credited with the translation of English classic hymns into Yoruba.
All right, so you're welcome back, and the conversation continues. It's about the proposed purchase of vehicles, SUVs, exotic cars for members of the House of Representatives, 360 of them for their oversight functions. And the spokesman for the House of Reps has clarified or made the clarification to say it is statutory. It is not just about the National Assembly. In fact, he said, using his own words, that the members of the executive have all received their cars, to carry out their functions. And so it's not just about them, and it's for the purpose of their office. It's not a personal gift that the National Assembly are giving out cars to their own members. No, it's for the function. And after 4 years, the House of Rep members have an option of either buying it, giving some kind of money to get it or leaving it, and it's not a gift. It's just for the purpose of their functions, especially oversight functions. But many persons have been talking about the matter. 160 million or 200 million worth of car for each person. Can we afford that at this time, especially going through the nation, what is happening, the realm, the mood, and what is happening? And we have been joined now by Mr. Tpl Abogan. Is a policy and political analyst. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Mr. FEMI. Good morning, Nigeria.
Yes, good to have you here.
Welcome.
All right, yeah, let's get right into the matter. What do you make of that story? The House of members are being, the office, the cars that are being meant for them are being worked on. 160 million naira, 200 million worth of car for each person to enhance their work. That is not a personal gift. But most persons are saying, why would these guys be having this kind of cars at this time? But it is statutory. What do you make of that?
Mr. President, let's look at this issue, which I always look at it from this angle. Just like you have an agenda, and when you get to each item of the agenda, you want to be ready. The last parliamentary regime, 9th Assembly, at the point in time when they resume, there is this agenda of let us give vehicles to ourselves. We made all this noise, like we are shouting now. You still have the cars. At the 8th Assembly, the same thing. 7th Assembly, the same thing. Now, one thing that bothers me about it is that
some of these are so-called legislators, our representatives, whether in the House of Rep or Senate, they've been in that chamber about 4 or 5 times, which means you'll be getting this gift. Well, I don't look at it as any other thing than gift for the past 4 sessions. The thing about this again, to the best of my knowledge, is that when they say they want to move for this, their so-called oversight functions, are you saying that the legislators they want to give Abuja going to Imo or going to Kano, will go with these vehicles we are doing to them? We should stop fooling ourselves. We should stop fooling ourselves. These people are getting our gifts, the money, our money. Nigerians are suffering. We only give them the right to go and make us more pauper, to go and make us suffer the more. That is the thing. Nothing like what are they legislating upon? They are legislating us to be poorer than the metals. A Congo of Gari is now close to 1,000 naira. Somebody is getting a gift of 100-something million naira for oversight function. To oversight all that we should become poorer. Let's look at issues the way it ought to be. Nobody should just gather around less than 200 people and be making us to suffer. And should be clapping for them. It's not done. And it's never done that way. And that is why people should be wiser and they should rise up to their meeting. They should not be taking this 500,000 to 2,000 and the next 4 years they will be at the state. Yeah. The roads are bad. You are giving them cars. The cars, are they going to be flying with the cars? Fix the roads. Let everybody know that you are working.
All right, so
that is what we should be talking about now, not talking of cars. A dollar is 1,004 naira. And I say you're giving somebody 150, 120 million naira car for oversight. To oversight what? These are the questions you'll be asking ourselves.
All right, so
how many are they? They are less than 500. In summary, all of them. Red, senators. Look at how much you are spending on them now. Free accommodation, practically free food. They will say they have a constituency allowance, they have this allowance. At the end of the day, they will come to our constituency, they give us something of 2,000, 3,000, we come and shout, the rest is working. The senator has given up on it. What are they doing? If you look at the state we are, that should dictate the pace and the mode of which the governors should take or lead its line of progress. Not nobody should be fooling us, and while we know that they are fooling us, and we don't continue to pass for them. Honestly, I cry for this country.
All right, Mr. Abogan, please help us out. Let's look at something here. Let's look at the death profile of Nigeria is alarming. And just a minute set of people are just those benefiting from the Commonwealth. Where does this take us and the generations coming after the likes of you, the likes of us? Where would this put them in the nearest future? What's your take on this, sir?
FEMI.
This Tunde
IDOWU, sir.
Please, I'm sorry about that.
Yes, sir.
Let's look at this. Let's look at Nigeria from this scenario, which always makes me not too comfortable with governance in this country. You see a boy in primary school or secondary school. You will not be looking at what he must do to achieve greatness. You'll be looking at those who are great, quote and unquote, as his own mentor or our own mentor. Notwithstanding whether they pass through anything or whichever. At the end of the day, you want to write the fencer at the age of 20. At my age, at 20, I'm still in school. Go to most of our tertiary institutions today. 100 level students, 200 level students, they are on cars worth 50 million, 70 million. How do you get the money? By extension, you ask a boy of 10 now, what do you want to become in future? I want to become a senator. I want to become a member of House of Reps. Because that's where free money is. That is where the people do not put their money. Whether you like it or not, that's why they fight tooth and nail to become a senator or to become a member. They know that once they are there for the next 4 years, that flow, the tap is always open. The tap is always there, open. So whether a bag of fries is for 100,000 naira, it doesn't mean anything to them because they have become free of charge. That's why we should cry for this concept. That is why people some very few, that and less than 500 out of 200 million, want to make sure that they are there at all costs. As we are talking now, where there's no light in most parts of Nigeria, in their also called a stream for that, it must be light 24/7. Because they say they're serving me and you that they are serving, you must not have light more than 3 hours, 7 days. So what are we talking about? Why should the masses be suffering for the small finger hands of people that are making us to suffer? I will still continue to clap for them. We give them our own hands, sweat, money as gifts. They say they are doing oversight function.
All right. Yeah, Mr. Abogan, just to put it right there, the issuance of this car or the allocation of this car, provision of this car is for their office, and part of that function is oversight. So it's not really like it's only for oversight function. It's for the functionality of their office. But that being put aside, when we say, which is statutory, by the way, is provided for in the laws governing the National Assembly, that each reps members, as far as senators as well, should have a vehicle for their office. But that on one side, the question is, are we not being unfair? And I tell you why, to these National Assembly members, that we usually and easily pick on them. That same thing applies. In fact, the spokesperson said the members of the executive already have their own. It's not that it's being planned for. They already have their own. And we're talking about ministers, possibly people in charge of MDAs of the government. In fact, VCs, vice chancellors of schools, none of them use small cars. CMDs don't use small cars. And people in charge of ministries, that's what we are talking about now. And possibly people in the executive. Why is it the members of the National Assembly that we pick on? There was a time people were complaining about the car being used by the FCT minister. Here's on Wiki, and he had to address this, and he even, in his own manner of talking, told them to go and look at it. But these guys, ministers, use exotic cars as well. Talk less of the vice president or the president. Is it not, have we not made members of the National Assembly easy targets? Why the same thing that we blame them for is being done by almost any other person in charge of top positions in the nation? Why always them?
Let me say this sincerely. And I pray it won't come to pass. Now, we don't use the half of our budget for this year to buy cars. If you are selling fuel at more than around 600 per day, either you are running and the 3 days of drive at that time. Now, you don't give car to these people for the fact, don't know the fact move. Because the essence of our site is that when they come to that constitution, come to the area of concern, you have a public hearing, people will know that these people, we have the views of people. I don't know whether they are doing that in the own area, but I've not seen my senator for the past 5 years in my parliament. You know what it is, what is the site. And before we went to the thing, and part of that, the promise us everything now. Now, be that as it is, the question that I had inside our body, and it was do I really buy me before I go to my office? I wonder how many cars we have. I beg to apply. I was offered an appointment. The total package people are having, this money, this cash they are talking about, the start of the package. Why must we not pay and take this again? People that every worker, there's demand for a car. You're there in the office now. Then we begin with a car, not that how long as you are still working, not as if you're functional and you will never need to drive the car. No, you know that this car is given, G-I-V-E-N. What means the job? At the end of the day, they give me the environment, everybody, to put the same car. And here you know that they go for the advertising. The advertising the ones that media, they must note their wallet. They will follow you. If you're they are actually funny. And these are the things that they never want us to spoil the real world. And these are the things they will not want to come back to that consistency to just understand. They are done. Why you go suffering? But when they are sick, later, they can't see them working around again. I want to do, I think,
Mr. Abogan, can you hear me? Mr. Abogan.
No, if you just make governance and put the disabled thing, how is possible? What makes it so bad? That's what that is the disabled thing.
Yeah.
We painted it, and I used as one for at some point. As long as these people are the ones making the laws, they always make the laws and we stood them available and make them conformable to themselves.
Mr. Abogan, can you hear me? Can you hear me, sir? All right. The question, part of the question I asked is, why are we always speaking on the National Assembly when members of the executive do the same thing, but we don't really hear people react to that? It's only members of the National Assembly that people frown at. The same thing cut across.
Let me cut this short. For the executive, the functions between AM to PM. And you remember, like I give an example, when the immediate past governor of this state was moving, he keep on shouting that I left 50 years GV cars at the government house, and then the interview came there. And then you don't let me, you can just switch to I live at the side. Have you heard of that? About the legislators? They believe in what the carpet, the furniture in their house is their property. They move up to see. You are giving somebody a car for that budget. You are expecting to give the car back when you're giving office, if it's not elected. Now, somebody that has been there for maybe 7 times, you get this back every session, every 4 years. You see how they could be like? These are questions. For the executive, is a different long-term plan. We see them performing on daily duty, and we that are government, we have a more right to stop them. That we are not saying you won't. We ask questions. They come to us, they go to their area, that's what they have committed. That's why they have people at the local level who make their functions more enhanced. It's a different thing in fact. That's why it's a different kind of government.
All right.
So we cannot do a very line of comparison. No. Don't do that. Don't do that. They are celebrating.
All right, Mr. Abogan, before.
Most of the things that we say are being overturned and not overturned, this legislator is more or less the executive. They have to just go into that, make laws, make policies, make rules for the executive to implement. How can you be promising that you will do rules when you are not doing rules, you do water? And the how do I do this? The question is asking. That's what they use the school to pull the company. You should tell them, so they are not the government, they are not the chairman of nothing. I'm talking about it.
All right, Mr.
The lawmakers are what torture. There is to be the lobby, the lobby. Out of the lobby now, that goes to the people that you create the law that the executive. Simple.
Okay. All right, sir. Quickly, before we allow you go this morning, this probably will be the last question from us here. Now, the federal government is proposing to borrow again from the International Monetary Fund, and it's a large amount of money being proposed, which is normal, which every government in the world does anyway. But then, looking at this amount of money proposed for representatives for their cars, what do they call these cars again?
SUVs.
These SUVs for their functions, oversight functions. And we intend to borrow again. Will the world see us as a serious nation, sir?
Let me sincerely confess this to you. Before Nigeria or our government we say that we want to, or we intend borrowing,
they have already.
The money is already their wallet. What we are just reading is just our record. I've never seen any time they say they want to borrow and they just go back to the and say, oh, they're not able to have that money. I've not heard of people. When they say they are proposing, they are lobbying, the money is already in their wallet. They will never announce to you that this how much we are able to borrow out of what we propose. But our debt profile will keep on increasing on daily basis. That's it. Don't let anybody that thinks that wants to borrow the wrong thing. Just believe that once you mention the monetary analysis. I remember that's my concern about people borrowing money. That's not because we do that. One of our ministers said, now, send a minister. I just borrow 100 naira from the bank. 100 naira. Not be too small. People so dedicated to the country. You come back to Nigeria, after 100 naira, you take more. So, another naira, we are the share among the people that we need to keep their facilitating. The consultant, you want to beg people. So the board wants to borrow, wants to go to them. Some of us, Nigerians, are factoring themselves out of the money we want to use in the hand or make you to pay. We are not thinking of money. It's only in the money.
All right.
Already, I'm not finished tomorrow. What I don't do,
all right.
No, that's
all right, Mr. Olutayo Samson Abogan, I want to thank you for your take this morning. It's an interesting take, especially this is your last submission. Saying whenever our government talked about borrowing money, most likely the money is on its way to the post or the money is on the post. But then there are processes to doing that. When the money is being sought to be borrowed, the National Assembly has to still ratify. That's the process of doing it. But by the way, I want to sincerely thank you for your take this morning. It's always an interesting time to speak with you, Town Planner Abogan. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Right, and these will be the size of our program this morning. The conversation has been about the allocation of SUV vehicles to House of Reps members, 360 of them at the National Assembly, for the functionality of their office. And they have come out to say it is not a gift. It is not a personal thing. It's for that office. It's for the National Assembly. Which issue is the property of the National Assembly. Thank you. And of course, there is option to buy when they are leaving. How that is done is another conversation as well. Ours is to have this conversation. Yours, distinguished viewers, is to make of you what you want of this conversation. Thank you for being part of the program today. The program will return tomorrow. And special thanks to our earlier guest, Barrister GBADEBO OLABODE, and of course, just now, Mr. Abogan. And of course, sincere thanks to you as well. Please do well to follow us on all our social media handles on X, on Facebook, and on Instagram at Western Spring Television. And of course, this program has been live. And of course, if you need a recap, go to Western Spring Television, our YouTube channel. Femi Ojo is my name. May Nigeria prosper in our time and beyond. God bless Nigeria.
A big thank you to the entire transmission and production team for this morning. A big thank you to the director, producers, and the entire camera team. We'll be back for the midweek edition of Morning Spring tomorrow, God willing, and it promises to be exciting. Tunde IDOWU is my name. At Irresistible TD on X. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye.
When the world's top stars no longer have the aura of celebrity, will he still be popular with everyone? In 2015, Ronaldo conducted a street test. He disguised himself as a homeless man. When he came to the square in the main street of Madrid, Spain, his performance began after tying the puppy to a chair. But even though he tried his best, he couldn't attract a single passerby to watch. Even when they passed him, they didn't even look at him. In desperation, the world footballer had no choice but to take the initiative to interact with passersby. When the ball was kicked to a woman's feet, she just looked at it and hurried away. Then Ronaldo came to the old man passing by and showed off his football skills. The old man just laughed it off. Ronaldo plans to further interact with passersby. He kicked the ball to the feet of a passerby, but it was simply ignored ruthlessly until this man, maybe he had an instinctive reaction, he gently kicked the ball back to Ronaldo. Next, Ronaldo took the initiative to come to a beautiful woman. He also asked for her phone number, but the beauty quickened her pace and left quickly. She didn't know what she was missing. This may be Ronaldo's most frustrating day. More than 10 minutes passed. Ronaldo still got nothing. Passers-by were unwilling to interact with him at all. The frustrated Ronaldo fell to the ground and shouted, "Over time." Ronaldo occasionally meets a few migrant workers who love football. They would be willing to simply interact with Ronaldo and kick a few goals, but they left in a hurry. Finally, a little boy came to Ronaldo. In the world of children, there is no busy work and distaste for being a homeless person. He interacted with Ronaldo for a long time. It can be seen that the little boy has a true love for football. After it was over, Ronaldo took out a signature pen and decided to give this signed football to the little boy. When Ronaldo slowly took off his sunglasses and took off his disguise, passers-by began to scream and applaud in surprise. The whole street started to get excited. Passers-by took out their mobile phones to take photos and seek group photos, but they were all rejected by Ronaldo one by one. Finally, with the help